righty, thank you. Welcome everyone. Today is April 10th, 2024, and this is our 5 o'clock Fiscal Court work session. Please join me for the pledge, please. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alrighty. We're going to have a blessing today, but it looks like the gentleman's not here yet, so if he comes in late, we'll jump back on that. I'd like to ask anybody if there's any public comments. You want to go ahead and, yeah, why don't we do it under public comments?
Sir.
Yep. Go ahead and state your name for the court, please.
George Harbor, resident of Waukegan Drive. I believe that's in the 5th District.
Okay.
I'm here this evening to request an amendment or update to County Ordinance 7-2000 in reference to the possession of exotic wildlife. I'd like to have some language added. I have an informational packet for the court if anyone would like one of those in reference to that change.
Okay, do you have enough for everybody?
I do.
Yeah, you want to go ahead and pass those out? You want to give us a quick, well, we'll wait till you get back to the mic. Obviously, we'll need to kind of look these over, but if you want to give us a quick cliff notes while you're here.
On page 1, that's a relevant section of the existing ordinance. Section 3, item number 22, prohibiting venomous rear fang species. On the second page is the relevant state regulation concerning the keeping of exotic wildlife. I would like to add the highlighted text to item number 22 in the county ordinance.
All right, does anybody have any, we'll look into this and we'll have our county attorney look into it. Does anybody have any questions? So I'm assuming this is a snake that you'd like and it's not
Unfortunately, sir, I actually am already in possession of 4 of these snakes.
Okay.
Back in December, when my wife agreed that I could have snakes again, I got very excited. Looked at the state regulation, but did not do my due diligence for the county ordinance.
Okay.
I spoke with Mr. Conley last week on Friday.
Oh.
There may be some gray area in the law determining whether or not hognose snakes are actually venomous, or if they are considered to have fangs. On the 3rd page of the informational packet, the 2nd paragraph, under Heterodon, where it speaks about members of this genus, it does speak about whether or not their saliva is toxic or venomous. And then the 4th paragraph, it talks about whether or not the scientific community can agree on whether or not they are venomous or poisonous. So there may be a gray area that I could, sneak under, but I would rather just, be in full compliance with the law.
We appreciate that. So, yeah, we will take this into consideration and go from there.
All right.
All righty. Thank you very much for coming in. Any other public comments? Seeing none, we're going to ask Mr. Duke to come up and get us a road department update. How you doing this evening, Duke?
Doing well. How y'all doing? I'd like to give you an update on what the road crews have been up to the last couple of weeks. We finished up our work out on Lebanon in preparation for the new pavement that's going to be going down. Talked to H.G. Mays last week. The weather's kind of put them behind, so he was planning on starting on the 10th. Looks like it's going to be around the 17th now before he gets started out there. We've been doing a little culvert work in different parts of the county, installing some new culverts, driveway culverts, and that sort of thing. Worked on our storage building and lunchroom, getting it cleaned out. They're getting ready to demo it here coming up in the next couple of weeks, so we've been trying to get it cleaned out. Charlie let us have a little room up in one of the barns for storage, so that worked out real well. That's about it on that part of it.
I'll ask you a question. Do you know if I know the salt bin is complete, but they were waiting on a company to come and caulk around the edges so you could actually move the salt?
I think that should have took place today. I was off today, but that was the plan for that to happen today. And then we've got to, it looks like it'll be first of the week before we can move the salt.
Okay.
Just due to the curing of the caulk. So.
And And then so I'm assuming when they come to demo the break room and everything, they'll demo the rest of that salt bin.
That's correct. That's what their plan is. They want, when they rented that machine again, they want to do both. As far as the new shop, we were waiting on plumbing inspection. First one, they had a little issue and it failed. It got re-inspected yesterday. Wasn't a major issue, just something the plumbing inspector didn't like, so it passed. As soon as this weather clears up where they can pour some concrete, that thing should be moving right along. They got all the storm drains in, or 99% of the storm drains are in now, so
Good.
it's coming along pretty well.
It's exciting to see. Go ahead, Squire Westman.
Yeah, Judge, I just wanted to thank the road department. I've fielded several calls from folks on Lebanon already asking what was going on and excited about the paving. And thank you all you've done quite a bit of ditching in addition to those culverts that have been replaced. And it was much needed, so they're all very excited about having that road paved finally. And I have to thank Representative Derek Graham and the governor for both working very hard to get us the funds to do that project finally. So, thanks.
It's looking a lot better out there.
Any other questions for Duke? All right.
Thank y'all.
Duke, thank you very much. Appreciate it. All righty, we're going to move on to my judge's report now. Just want to thank personally the Finance Committee. It's a big undertaking. We've met, I think, 3 times for about 2.5 hours every time to really kind of go through the budget. And obviously, I want to thank our treasurer, Amy Quatman, for doing her due diligence and working through this. On April 15th, we're going to have a committee of the whole, so all of us can sit down and look at this together. And I know Amy's prepared some documents, so it will hopefully be easier this year compared to the years in past. Park Committee has met. We're kind of still looking at Lakeview Park layout. We talked about sports tourism, and then we've also met with Josephine Sculpture Park about some potential partnerships in the future. Mayor and I did a Frankfurt Civics 101 class. That was put together by Together Frankfurt. It was held over at the plant board. It was basically to talk about how city government functions and how county government functions. It was good and very good Q&A, about 30 people in the audience. So I was happy to see that many people there. On March 27th, I did a proclamation for the Phi Beta Psi. It's a great organization, 66 chapters, over 1,100 members. It's a sorority. Basically, their main mission now is collecting money for cancer research. So they've raised over $150,000 and they donate all that. So that was very nice to be able to do that with them. Also, we did a proclamation for Casa de Bluegrass because April is National Child Abuse Awareness Month, which is still unbelievable for me that people abuse children, but it goes on every day. So we need to be aware of what's going on in our community. But they're a wonderful organization that helps a whole lot of people there. And they're also doing an open house tomorrow, 5:30 to 6:30. It's right next door. You know, they're on, I think, 2nd floor over there in our building. So if you have time to go over and say hello, I'm sure that would be much appreciated. Yesterday, we did Solarize Frankfurt. Andy McDonald is kind of leading that charge, and we appreciate everything he does for the community. So basically, they've gotten it down to 2 businesses this year. They'll alternate when they get a lead in. I think Andy said there's already maybe 13 people that have signed up for this year. Last year, 27 homeowners in Frankfurt, Franklin County took advantage of the program. So they take the guesswork out of it. You know, if anyone's thinking about solar and how they can help the environment, it's good just to make one phone call and know that these companies have already been gone through and vetted, and they're reputable companies, which is half the battle when you're dealing with contractors. So that's the gentleman right there that we're at his house. I can't remember, Daryl. He used to be city EMT, I think, or something. So super nice guy. But it was very great presentation, and I appreciate everything that they're doing for Frankfurt and Franklin County. Today I attended drug court graduation. Pretty amazing. 7 people made it through the program. It was interesting. Last year I went, I think it was 4 to 5 females. This year it was 7 males. I don't know if there's a rhyme or reason. I thought it was interesting, but they all got up there and spoke, and we wish them well in their journeys ahead. This Saturday at West Six Farm, we have Reforest Frankfurt. Be a proclamation at 11 a.m. I believe they do lunch there also, plus they're giving seedlings away as part of the Arbor Day presentation, art contest winners, things like that. So if anybody has the opportunity to come out, if you haven't been out to West Six Farm, that's out in Squire Tracy's neck of the woods. It's a beautiful place to go out and just walk and get lost a little bit. So that should be a great event. It looks like the weather's going to cooperate. So it's all good things happening here in Franklin County. Last but not least, I would like to recognize, we had a couple members of our team go on to new ventures. I want to thank Betty Jo for her 10 years as HR director. So we wish her well on her next opportunities and whatever's ahead of her. And then I'd also like to recognize Robert Hewitt. He was a planning and zoning director, and he had 17 years with us, so whatever his future holds, we wish him well. So on that note, our next court meeting is scheduled for April 25th, and we're going to keep moving. Alrighty, we're going to jump right into it. Anybody have any questions for our minutes from our regular meeting of March 20th, 2024?
I just know, I'm afraid I'm looking at it incorrectly or something, but it says it was called to order at 7:48 PM.
That's when the voting meeting.
Just the voting
Yeah,
meeting?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Any other questions on the minutes? All right, seeing none, I believe we have a bid. I believe our acting jailer is with us tonight. Ron, how you doing, sir?
Fine, sir. Yourself?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So this is about the valve replacements at the jail.
That's right. This is the valve replacement project that we've discussed previously that was not done during the ESG period. So this is for the remainder of all the valves in the jail to be replaced. We had one bid, so obviously we want to go with that one.
Questions? Go ahead, Squire Sebastian.
Thanks, Judge. Thanks for being here with us. I saw 2 ads placed in the State Journal after March 13th, noting a March 13th bid opening. Who can speak to that discrepancy and what the issue was? I guess with the responsible party to proof the ads, or maybe it was with the State Journal for not sending a proof to us. I know I spoke to the judge about that matter after seeing it, and he was going to look into it. I just haven't heard anything back. So I don't know if it voids bids.
Well, I guess that one's on me. The opening bid to me means something different, I guess, than it does to the court. I think when the bid process opens, that means when it begins. And I've since learned that that's when it ends and bids are opened after they're submitted. Although we only have one bid, so.
And Squire, I apologize for not getting back with you. I did talk to Ron about that. Do you want to, is there anything we have to redo because it was?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
I don't believe so. I mean, I can take a look further into it, but
Ron, did we, I thought, oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, maybe.
I was thinking, didn't we already vote on some valves or something not that long ago, a couple months ago?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we voted on funding it, but we had not awarded the contract to anyone. And I would say that this did, it's about $5,000 more.
Okay, so there was a budget number that we were kind of
Yes.
thought it was going to be around, okay.
But there was some delay, I guess, there, then the price has gone up about $5,000.
Okay. Squire Tanner.
How many valves is it? Didn't say on here.
Yeah.
It's $63,000.
It just says
What are we getting for?
several.
Several is all
I
it says.
have that as a question too.
I couldn't tell you the exact number of valves.
So how do we have a price?
The exact number is a little over 400. It's about 414, if you would. There is
414 valves?
414 valves.
Okay.
And in each lockdown cell area, there is approximately 48 to 52 valves just in that little lockdown cell. So instead of having to shut down a whole entire pod area to work on one sink over here, because each one of those lockdown cells has a sink, it has a valve up and a valve, it has a water line that comes through the floor, a valve to shut this one off and a valve to shut that one off. And all those valves are in terrible need of replacement. And that's why we're asking to do the valve project. The size ranges from a 1/2 inch valve all the way up to 2.5 inch valves. So it's numerous size valve project. ESG, when they put in the valves, they only replaced 34 main shutoff valves. So in order for me to shut off one area, I might have to shut off 3 pods to get this done. This will help the quality of life for all the inmates and everything. When I have to go into a pod and work, we'll have just one sink down instead of having to shut the whole thing down and move all the inmates from that area throughout the jail. If it takes me a week to get apart, because some of that stuff is special order items, this only takes us down one sink instead of maybe a whole pod area.
So do you all have a breakdown on what was bid, so we know exactly what we're
Yes.
getting? So you all do have that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It's every valve except the 34 that have already been replaced, however many that is.
Okay.
So every water valve in the jail.
Yes, I have a water valve in the jail.
Matt, can you elaborate? This is a replacement in kind with same material, same type?
Yes,
Or-
so every valve in there, when the jail was originally built, was soldered in. Well, since then, there's been fire alarms added when they've done upgrades and stuff into these areas. So in order to properly replace one of these valves, either we have to shut the fire system down and put it on test so they can go in and solder all these valves, or they come up with a new ProPress fitting, which is a design, takes a special tool, go in, cut the valve out, press the new valves in, and there's no fire inside the jail. And this can be done without having to shut the fire system out. And that's what I had bidded out.
Fire Sebastian?
I wasn't on the Energy Committee and only saw probably certain things, but were shut-off valves part of the initial ESG contract? And I guess if so, why were they not installed? Why was only 34 installed? I know we had a considerable discussion about some larger valves and the sizing of those at a separate court meeting under the last term. And I guess we haven't heard a follow-up report from that company about us advancing the energy savings. So I guess my question is do they bear any responsibility for this expense? This to me is an additional expense to the court that should have been covered under the contract. But maybe there's some nuances to the contract that I was not clear about, or when the committee went. I'm just trying to,
Yeah, I'm
I'm
gonna ask
sure
Squire Blackburn and Squire
everyone has
Tracy, because
questions
you all
probably
were on
about
the
that.
committee.
Thank you.
Well, when we had initial talks about that, the maintenance director at the time said these are the ones that we needed, and we didn't need anymore. I didn't personally go in and inspect every valve. We put the burden of need on the maintenance director at the time. So, and ESG agreed that would be the minimal amount that they could do to shut down as little areas in the jail as possible, but like you said, it wasn't as finite as being in every single cell, every single water connection. But yeah, it was the former maintenance director said this is what we needed.
And also, if you remember, we went back and added valves to the
Yeah,
initial.
right.
Yes,
30.
we did. So there truly should be more than 30 that's been replaced. Again, to echo what he said, we only know the information that we're given, and at the time that project took place, there were staff elected officials giving us the information of what we received. And also the energy group with their professionals
Well, that's
were
where
supposed to have combed it as well.
I
So,
guess my question goes back to the professionals that, I mean, that was why they came in, to give us a professional overview and to do the work that was needed. So I guess I'm at a quandary as to why they only thought in a jail at this age. I know I've been in there and seen the valves. I was in there with Matt in some really tight spaces that Matt couldn't even get to. And there were valves in there, it looked like if I touched them, they would have crumbled. So I'm just a bit perplexed as to why the professional corporation that we contracted with came back, and I think you said 34 was the minimum. So did they give us a maximum number of?
No, they did not. And I want to add, that company operates as a energy performance contract. So the stuff that they were going to charge us for, they tried to balance with the energy savings that we'll have. Anything above and beyond falls outside of that contract. And that was what our maintenance director recommended that we do. And so that's why we came exactly to that point.
Well, and I think now, and I wasn't on that committee, but just remembering a little bit of these conversations, there was a good bit of work out there, especially that the maintenance director that was there said that he was going to perform to save money. And I don't think it ever happened. So there might have been a disconnect there, which...
Judge, the last that we met with the Energy Committee that I'm now sitting on that committee, they provided us an updated list of all of the activities that were opted for our own maintenance professionals within county government to provide. They said that they completed everything that they were tasked to do and had asked us if we wanted to revisit any of the additional work, but there was a lengthy list of things that I understand our maintenance at the time was going to complete and kept marking things off that they could do that never have been finished.
I think you're right.
To my understanding, everything that was directed to be done was. From the review that we had, we've only met with them once since that point in time.
They completed their scope of work.
Okay.
Judge, could we, I think I'm fine to move forward with this contract. I think it needs to be done, but I would like to maybe add an addendum to the contract that specifically lists every item so that when we have future questions and future courts come back to this, we can reference that material very easily instead of it just being a one-page contract. Matt, you said you have that information that we could add just a physical checklist, maybe that when the contract is finished, those can be checked off so that reference material is there for the
I
future.
actually have it broke down physically, pod by pod. I have other minis in each pod. That's the way we had to. When I bid it out, I bid it total number of valves per size. So it would make it a lot easier to physically. Because if you look at this thing, it might be 2.5 inch valve over here, but a 3/4 inch valve over here in this spot. And the way I bid it out is by size instead of doing it by pod area and stuff like that. It would get very confusing really quick.
We just need something to know that what taxpayer money's paying for that we get.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I don't think we need diagrams, and we appreciate how you're doing it, but we just need to know that this money's going for this many valves at these sizes, and that's what is actually installed.
Yes.
Yeah.
We do, because this just says, the contract says several.
Yeah. So
So
you can get us
that-
that breakdown, and we'll distribute it to the courts, and then we can add this to it.
And did you have any other companies request that information beyond the one that responded? I assume that you handed that to each company to be able to respond to the bid.
When I originally got the first estimate, I reached out to 3 different companies that were significantly higher, but when we built it out, this was the only company that reached back out and said, hey, look, this is what we're willing to do it for. But they did have the total number, yes. It was in the ad,
You said it was over 400?
yes.
414.
414, what you said. All right, any other questions? All righty, thank you, gentlemen. Next, I believe Sheriff is with us. How you doing, Sheriff?
So our excess fees were a little bit more, which is always good news than we originally, we budgeted, the estimated number was $44.90, and we ended up with, the check was for $6,854.90. So I don't feel like I'm in the principal's office when I go see him anymore. No,
So you don't see any questions coming your way, huh?
we get along fine.
Any questions for the sheriff on him giving us more money than he thought he was gonna give us? How's that?
Perfect.
All righty, next.
If you remember, yeah.
Funny how that works.
And I never do it after the county clerk comes in here and gets this. Whenever we did our budget, we talked about surplus in cars and guns and body cams, so, and building the building. Of course, the building's done and the cars are in the works, so now we're trading in our Glocks. We're trying to get more modern weapons, holsters, and the guns that we're buying, I'll actually have optics, so our range qualifications will go up and our accuracy, and we'll have a better weapon system.
Say optics, what type of optics are you gonna have on?
I don't know, Daniel done all the work on this, but it kind of like, I call them optics, like a red dot, you know, like a rifle.
Yeah.
New thing in law enforcement, a lot of their pistols, you got to get different holsters, but they're getting it, you know, at least for me, the older I get, the worse my eyes are, so I think everybody's range scores will go up. I mean,
Sure they will.
it's going to be like, more like shooting a rifle when you can just aim and put a red dot on something. And they will also have flashlights,
Do they train often at the range?
3 times a year, day and night.
Are you all sticking with 40 caliber, or are you going to 9s?
Yes, we have more ammo than we've ever had in history, so we couldn't go to 9s. We bought so much ammo from agencies that switched at like half price. We're in good shape.
Okay.
We could probably last a long time with the supply we have. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it's a good round, good caliber. We're happy with it, and we have a big stock of it.
Are all these guns owned by
Eric.
the sheriff department now, they haven't been confiscated from anybody?
No, these are all department issue guns that either people are carrying now, or there may be a few extra ones that we have.
All right, any other questions? All righty, next.
The quarterly report, so that's kind of the same thing as the excess fees. After the whole year is said and done, all the bills are paid, we reconcile our account on March 15th and turn the money over to the county treasurer, and so we ended up staying within our budget, and you see the numbers, so a lot of moving parts. I'm always happy when that's done. The next thing is Monday, or Tuesday, when we roll the remaining tax bill over to the clerk. That's always a big relief, so we're at about 98%, so we think there'll be like 700 bills left for that, so we're right on track, just like last year.
That's great news there. 98% is pretty strong. Any questions for the sheriff on this one? All righty, thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, next I believe we have 2 smiling faces from the Franklin County Extension Office, with Carla and Sharon are here. How you guys doing this evening?
Doing great. So good to see you, Judge.
Doing well, Judge,
Great,
doing well.
great. Glad to hear it, glad to hear it.
So the Franklin County Extension District Board met, and they decided to keep the compensating rate that we've had on file. You'll notice down at the bottom in personnel, the amount went up, and that's because we have added 3 new staff members. So to allow the agents to be more visible in the community, we have a new 4-H program assistant, we have a new nutrition education assistant, and a new facilities manager. So Keenan and Adam don't have to play facilities, they can be agents. And so we have new people coming on board. We're also in capital outlay doing some additions to the building. We had some work. Our facilities person came on board, found out we had a major leak that we've been having for a while, so he's going to save us about $3,000 a year.
Like that, yeah.
Well, that's great, it's good news. All righty, what questions do we have for the Extension Office tonight? Any? I just want to say we appreciate what you all do. It's a wonderful thing that we have here in Franklin County, and can't thank the agents and the board members enough for everything you all do. So it's truly a treasure. Thank you.
All right. This is about the best meeting I've ever had.
You better go while you're ahead, Sharon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
all.
All righty. I believe our maintenance director, Greg, how you doing tonight?
Doing all right. Doing all right.
Good. You haven't been in front of us in a while, have
I
you?
know. This is like my first actual court meeting other than I introduce them to everyone.
You know everybody here?
Yeah, I think so.
Just making sure. All righty. You want to talk a little bit about the janitorial services that we're looking at here?
Yeah, we're looking to get this building, 315 and 313, the sheriff's office and the road department contracted out. I think it's a great opportunity for the county to save money and go a different route and see how things can work out that way. It's pretty, I think we can save the county a lot of money doing this with just benefits alone, not rehiring a janitorial person. We would roughly, we'd save a lot of money. We're thinking probably anywhere from $30,000 in the year just because of salary plus benefits. We're thinking the contracts will be anywhere between $40,000 to $50,000 a year, and that's all the buildings. This building and the buildings next door nightly, and then the sheriff and road department twice a week.
And just for anybody watching, this is because we had somebody who's wanting to further their career somewhere else. And
Yes, that is.
who's turned in
Sadly, we are losing our
Yeah.
janitorial service guy. He's going to a new adventure.
Yep.
He is wanting to reach out to another place that he's going to. We will miss him, but we have to move on. We have business to do, so that's what we're trying to do.
We wish him well. Any questions for Greg on this, wanting to put an RFP out? Go ahead, Squire Sebastian.
The bidder specs, do we have those? Have those worked up?
Yes, we had those.
Because it says in this document, because they're not in the document that we have, it tells about the buildings, et cetera. And it says that they're going to be posted on the county's website. I just looked. I looked last week when I got my packet, and they're still not on here. So I'm just trying to see what the bid specs are.
The bid specs,
What they are.
I don't have them in front of me right now. We are going off of what we have done, because we currently contract out the judicial center. So we're basing it off of that. Most all that stays the same. There's a few tweaks that we have to do to that. Actually just adding a few things that we're wanting that were not on there. We can get those to y'all. I do not have them tonight.
It's okay. So I guess I just ask in general, when there are things like this, if that could be in our packet, that would be really helpful, especially on the next.
Yes, no, I'll make sure that is on there.
And that will be posted after we vote on it, right?
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Greg? Greg, we appreciate, especially I appreciate everything you're doing around here. You know, we've been doing a lot of work in these offices to make things flow better, and I think it's working and it's going well, and I just want to say thank you to you and your team. Squire Tanner.
The question I had is not necessarily about the proposal, but is everybody gone now?
No, Daryl is still here. He is leaving on the 19th. So he is here until the 19th, so.
So we don't meet until the 24th or 25th, whatever the day is.
Yes, we are going to work on that and try to do what we can in the meantime on that. So that's where we're at on that. It was unaware in his announcement of wanting to leave, and we've been trying to get that situated where we can have it sent out to RFP to get these bids in.
Well, I just checking to see if everything was gonna be covered until the decision had been
Well,
made. It could be rejected, the bid could be, as far as that goes.
Yeah, that is true, and we will work through that. Me and Bobby have covered some of the areas that have been missed in the past week. We are not a Superman team, but we do the best we can with what we have until we can get the proper cleaning personnel that we need.
All right, our jailer has his hand up in the back of the room.
That's something that the jail could help with in the short term.
Okay.
We could help out with some of the janitorial duties.
Okay.
Get my staff and some of our trustees probably help out on that.
Well, we would appreciate it if we had that. We would definitely take that.
Thank you for working with us. Squire Blackburn.
I'd like to ask that when those bids come in, if we could see the costs that we've had in the past when we had the folks doing it, just so we could have a breakdown of what,
Yeah.
what it
What
costs
we
to
were
hire
paying
folks.
compared to
Yeah.
what we,
Yeah.
yeah.
So just have the numbers in front of us.
Well, and the number I gave y'all on the 30,000 saving is actually just dealing with Daryl's salary and benefits. If you add Skip in there,
Yeah.
it's like 80,000.
So, yeah, we get them both in front of us when that time comes.
Numbers, absolutely. Squire Wisman.
Judge, last year I'd asked about whether we had anything in place, and the county attorney has said that we do, that permits us to have local preference whenever we put out a bid. So I'd like to make sure that the bid packet that goes out states that we will be providing local preference to a local vendor first and scoring them ahead. So generally, we need to include that language when the bid goes out, that there will be a scoring process that puts them ahead if I'd like that to be known.
Okay.
Yes.
Sounds good. Craig, do you make note of that? Oh, here we go. Here's Sheriff.
Maybe put in there something about background checks for whoever's coming to our office.
That is in the actual, that is in the specs, that it is required to have background checks on all employees that come into any facility that we will have them in. It's not just this one, it's sheriffs, the road, and the county clerk, and deed room, and all that, so they will have background checks on them.
All good information. Squire Tanner, do you have another?
Well, it confuses me a little bit, especially with the sheriff's, a question about background checks. If the contract might not specifically say who's gonna be doing the work.
We have, so they will have to provide that their employees, and they will have to go under a background screening for them to be.
So one of them, they rotate around, change employees, they
They will have
have to have that before they're allowed to do anything?
Yes, they will have to do that. They will have to provide that. We've been using this system at the Judicial Center for a very long time. Prior to mine, it's been several years that they've had this at the Judicial Center.
As long as it satisfies everybody, it does me.
Okay. We good? We good on cleaning?
All right.
Good deal. If you could get maybe with Jack, well, let's just
Yeah,
make
we'll
sure
make
that
those
RFP is
adjustments
exactly what we
and
need, and we'll go from there. Thank you, Greg, I appreciate it. We appreciate it. Alrighty, next, I believe we have a grant writer, Miss Tammy. How are you doing tonight, Tammy?
Doing well, thank you. This is a resolution to apply for the State Homeland Security Grant Program for active shooter response and training for the Sheriff's Office. Your abstracts, it just says for training, equipment for training, but it's actually, all of that equipment listed there is for a response to an active shooter, as well as to go out and provide active shooter training to the community and to the other deputies at the Sheriff's Office. There's no match, and we're still working on simunition pricing, but right now, I could give you an estimate, it's going to be a little less than $100,000.
So will you have that budget number before you send the
Yes.
product? Squire Sebastian.
No, thank you, Judge. Is that the maximum? Are we requesting the maximum amount that can be requested as part of this
There's really not
opportunity?
a maximum amount. This is just whatever your project costs.
Okay. And no match? And you said we're going to request about 100,000?
Yeah, I think it's, Right now, we're around $80,000, but like I said, he's not really sure how much, Deputy Depp is not really sure how much the simunition is going to come in at, and we're trying to get a price quote from the state contract. So hopefully we'll have it tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. Squire Wisman.
Tammy, is this the digital simulated, or was there any additional training at an external site, or is this I've been through one of these with the city, that everything comes to us. Is that the instance with this one?
Yes, so the trailer is to hold the equipment, and then they will travel like to factories that request it, or state office buildings. They will travel there, provide the training, and...
Same thing then. Okay, thanks.
Squire Sebastian.
Thank you, Judge. So this probably is not the question for you, it's probably more for the sheriff. When this happens, would this be something that could be utilized in the school system?
Absolutely. I think
Because that's the primary thought that comes.
You know,
Go
where we
ahead,
have the
please.
13 schools, you're right, it'd be
Right.
great to be able to, when school's out in the summer,
Yes.
use the opportunity to train.
I would be a huge advocate for that, and I've fielded some calls about that before, so I'm sure you have too.
Well, Tammy's been working hard to find us some money, and I know that
Yep.
she keeps on, she's gonna get us some, so hopefully this
I
will be
agree.
the one.
I agree. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, let's move on next one.
Sorry, can't find the paper. This is a resolution to apply for the State Homeland Security Grant Program for the Franklin County Regional Jail perimeter fencing. The quote we have from the state pricing contract is for $152,064. Again, there's no match. We've provided a diagram of where the perimeter fencing would approximately go. I wouldn't say that that's exact, but that's to give you an idea. The blue are the gates. The entrance road gate would have a operator, with the operator, so that those staff that are to have access will have a key card. Is it a key card? Yes, key card, and then that would allow them to open the gate with that, and then other staff or other persons, an identity verification would be conducted to allow individuals into the jail.
Okay, Squire Blackburn.
So the red indicates where the fencing would go,
Yes, and that gap is where there's existing fencing.
and then you have a fence along Glenn's Creek that just ends?
That red line that's along there in Lynch Creek shouldn't be there.
Yeah, that is, I think that's the boundary line. Sorry, that is confusing. I think that's the city-county boundary line.
So I'm assuming at the gates, if you're not an employee and don't have a key card, there'll be a push-button microphone or
Yes,
something to
yes, an intercom
the
speaker.
inside
Mhm.
to the people.
And the other gate is a manual gate, and that's to limit access, or to get, for people to be able to gain access to the basement, HVAC and other things that are in that back area.
Squire Blackburn.
Do we know what type of fencing?
It's, it's an 8-foot tall galvanized chain link fence with 3 strands of barbed wire, a manual swing gate, and an automatic sliding gate with operator, as I said.
Any other questions? Alrighty, good luck on both of these.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tammy. Alrighty, next I believe we have Ben Judah here. Come on up, Ben. You can put a tie on for us tonight. You better come to that podium. You want to talk a little bit about the second reading that we have in front of us, Ben?
Sure. So you all had the first reading last meeting. This is for a zone map amendment from General Industrial IG to Highway Commercial CH for 2.36 acres of property located at 2311 Lawrenceburg Road. Present use or present zoning of the property, it's not really adequate for substantial industrial use. So staff is recommending approval to zone it to highway commercial zoning. The applicant is the Central Kentucky Agricultural Credit Union, who plans to build a lending institution on site. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, and I believe we talked about this last, Squire Sebastian, it's in your district, correct?
Yes, Judge, it is, and I have received no calls, no inquiries, no emails, no communication from anyone about it.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Ben? Squire Wisman.
Just a statement. Ben, can you state what the planning commission's decision was?
Unanimous recommendation of approval.
And Judge, just because I'm making it the point to read the changes every time, it's currently zoned general industrial district, correct?
Correct, IG.
Which is to establish and preserve areas in the county for the purpose of industrial land use and industrial growth, to limit such areas to functions related to the production of goods, such ancillary uses as are compatible with industry, and to provide standards which will protect the community from obnoxious activities associated with industrial production. And the request is to go to a highway commercial district, which I believe in our packet shows that several other adjoining properties are already zoned that. And its purpose is to establish and provide commercial districts which cater primarily to the needs of vehicular-oriented trade, to provide for orderly development and concentration of highway-oriented uses near interchanges, and to recognize the need for larger land masses required for commercial facilities serving a traveling public. So I'd just like us to tell the public exactly what we're changing or what the request current and future is too. So, thanks.
Any other questions for Ben on this zone change second reading tonight that we will be voting on? Ben, thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Next, I believe, is our treasurer. Amy, good evening.
Good evening. So the road department has requested a budget transfer in between their petroleum products to office material and office equipment for $2,000. And this is simply a transfer. It doesn't affect the overall budget.
Duke, would you be able to tell the court what office equipment was needed for this transfer, please?
We currently have money in that budget, or in that line, but we're gonna, well, we've already purchased, we haven't paid for it, but ordered a computer. We need 4 new computers. 3 of them will be out of next year's budget. So it was gonna pretty much deplete that line item. So we're just putting some money in there to, in case we need anything. I don't foresee us needing anything, but it comes up, and we were already transferring to one line item for office supplies.
Okay. Thank you.
It made that one as well.
Any questions for Amy on this one? Or Duke? Thank you very much. Treasurer's report.
So you have the revenue and the expenses as of April 10th. So it's a, exciting time as we watch the revenues to see if we're coming in close to what we budgeted. The real property taxes, we just received a check from the sheriff this afternoon, so we will meet that, and we'll, of course, get another check to finish that out next month, so we will meet that. The occupational tax, we are at 72% right now. Of course, those quarterlies will be rolling in the next few weeks, and I feel confident we'll meet that number. The other large number is in the fire fund, the insurance premium tax. Same thing there. Those will start rolling in. So I would say within the next month, we'll see if we've met those budget.
Questions for Amy?
Not necessarily for Amy, but let me make sure I understand the rules on the American Rescue Plan Act, okay? The ARCA money. There's $8 million in that fund, basically. $7,933,000. and that has to be contracted by December the 31st, is that correct?
Right.
Under contract,
Yes.
or we have to write a check to the government to give it back, is that correct?
Yes, the funds have to be obligated by the end of this year, and that does mean we have to be under contract.
Judge, where are we on that? I mean, what's the plan? Is there a plan?
Yeah, no,
We're only here.
there is a plan. So we actually met with Bluegrass Ad today, trying to get the mapping finished, and we're going to need all the magistrates' help on that. They just got the document released. So he informed us today that we could go ahead and start preparing an RFP. So the goal is to have that RFP for the rest of the internet for the county out in the next couple of months. The other funds are for Lakeview Park, and I believe they're running ahead of schedule as far as hopefully the park plan will be coming. It should be ready around July, I think, to go out for bids. So I think the contract should be in place, no problem there. And Amy, I think, is there a fire truck still there?
No, the fire truck
Fire
is
truck's
bond money.
Yeah, so those are basically the two things that we
Will
have.
I take the 8 million?
I'm missing something?
Yeah, some of it may be obligated because
Some of it is obligated.
Yeah,
$50,000 is a grant, that's all I see, but
Yeah, I will get you the detail of what's been obligated, so that you know.
obligation and contract signs two different things though, I think.
Help me out, Tammy. Farmdale,
1.5.
is that 1.5, do you remember?
Yeah, I did see
Is
that
that for the
number. That's
interceptor?
the ARPA money.
I believe so.
Everyone's aware of the contracts need to be done, because I know even the Farmdale project, they know certain things need to be in place. So the sewer department's starting to get all the RFPs sent out for contracts. So everyone's working backwards. We're well aware of the end of the year thing. So we're trying to push as hard as we can on all of it.
I'm probably saying things that everybody here is aware of.
No, it's okay.
And,
You're absolutely not, because
Yeah.
I have no idea what's happened with the ARPA money,
Yeah,
none,
All I
zero.
know is we hired somebody that gave $117,000, if some number close to that, to help us stay out of jail by spending it.
Yeah.
It's basically what we hired him for. And it just seems to me like we got May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December is 8 months. And I hadn't seen anything other than talk, which we got to talk first. Don't get me wrong, I understand all that. But thank you for the information.
I would love to have like just a list of what you all plan to do with it, because
Yeah.
sincerely, I hear nothing about it. So I would love to know what the plan is and how much is going to be spent on each thing. That
Amy
would
has
be
that, because that was
awesome.
earmarked a year ago or so, I think, at least.
Judge, if I can, one, I've not seen any communication from the attorney we hired about what the funds can be used for. I don't know if they've given us a synopsis or some direction, if that could be shared with all the members of the court. Or if not, then I will be happy to get in direct contact with the attorneys and have some discussions of my own. But, those funds are at the prerogative of this whole body to spend and allocate by December through this next budgeting process. And I have had several ideas that we've not had the opportunity to discuss just yet. So I'm hoping that on the 15th meeting, we have some serious discussions about what we all would like to do with those funds. We've had lots of discussions about homelessness and housing options and development and some other things in this community that need further conversations, and as yet have not seen an update on our park and, the directive or how much money we're even going to need to spend on that in about 6 months or more. If the park's not a viable option, we need to be thinking what else we can do with those funds, right? Right now, my primary obligation is getting some housing done for this community, getting internet connection for everybody at whatever amount it takes to fund that, and some other priorities. But we need to have that conversation as a whole body, and it's not the priority of just one of us. Thanks.
And if I could comment about that agreement with Compass.
Please.
The U.S. Treasury has given us guidelines of how it can be used, and I can certainly get that into your hands. But their role, Compass's role in States and Harbison, is for us to come to them and say, as a court, we want to spend it on this. Is this an allowable expense? And they will say yes or no. Yes, it's an allowable expense, and let us move forward with it. So, and we talked to them about that too. They're not necessarily going to come to us and say, spend it on this. They're not going to tell us the allowable expenses. That's the U.S. Treasury and the guidelines that they've issued.
All the more importance for us to
As a comment,
decide how we use those funds.
I have 100% confidence that Amy would never steer us down the wrong road, not ever, ever. So I feel confident you got your all over what's going to be eligible and what's not without any question. So I'm not questioning anybody except where are we in the whole big picture?
And can I add a question to that? You know, there was some discussion about funds that have been expended already on projects in this community, and if we were to dispose of property or otherwise, how those funds can be reused. I don't know if we've had that question submitted to them yet, but I would like to see the answer as soon as possible.
We have. I mean, and the shortness is if something were to be changed, it would just have to go for another ARPA-approved project. And short, right?
I know typically federal funds have to be paid back with interest if they're disposed of within a certain period of time, not for the original intent, but if we can pass those back through.
Yeah, everything's different now. It's the first time federal funds, we can invest them and make money on them in a bank. I mean, they've never been able to do that with federal funds before, so they're kind of a whole specialty on their own.
I hope we'll have several budget meetings that we can get into the weeds of some of that kind of stuff this year for the first time.
Okay. Anything else for Amy?
Oh, if I could add the budget meetings, you all will have that. Has the packet been emailed? It has.
We have it in front of us right now.
And you have it. So our Monday meeting is for us. That becomes your budget. We've worked hard on putting that together with the Finance Committee, all of our department heads. So that is our time to talk about those numbers and have questions or address them, make changes. So I'm available. I'm available the rest of this week. Come see me, call me. We can chat about it.
Judge, can we talk about the date of this meeting? I cannot do Monday night. There's no way I can do that.
No.
I can't.
The 15th?
Yeah, I can't do that. So I think several of us had some issues with the date, so I don't know.
Mitzi sent it out.
If I can add, we have had that on the schedule for quite some time. And I am okay with moving it, but I am under a deadline because I will have to present this not for the first reading, but I have to present it to you on that April 28th. And it does take a while for me to turn all this around, so that's why it is scheduled on Monday.
Is there anything new that would be on there that the Finance Committee hasn't seen or vetted?
Yes, and I have reached out to them with those changes.
So we got 4.5 days to study it, I guess. We've had less in the past, so, hey.
Yeah, I tried really hard to get it in your hands so that you could spend some time with it and talk to me about it, talk to the Finance Committee about it.
Question about, do we have to approve the jail budget by the end of this month?
The jail budget has become part of our budget, so,
Well, but it's not approved until, okay, go through that process while be refreshed.
So we will meet on Monday to discuss it. On the 28th, I'll present it. You're not voting on it at that point. Then we'll have changes can be made up until the first reading, which I don't recall when I had scheduled to do that first meeting, but I think it's the 1st of May. It's the first meeting that we have in May. We'll do the first reading. And once we do that first reading, it's pretty much set. So there is time to change what we're proposing at this point. And that includes any of the departments, the jail as well.
Well, I wasn't thinking about changing, I was just thinking about time.
Okay.
Amy, can you walk us through the final, the whole process, our deadlines? Because you mentioned a couple. And the 28th, are we calling a special meeting on the 28th? We have a meeting on the 25th, I know.
No, I'm sorry, I may have misspoke. Whatever the next court meeting is when I will present it.
Okay, 24th.
24th?
Yeah, it's a 9 o'clock meeting.
And on the 24th?
Of course, JW asked me, I checked mine.
That's what I thought it was, but then I said,
Sorry.
Meeting on 24th.
at 9 in the morning,
Somebody
yeah.
tell me.
No, I probably just missed
Can we
that.
make that 10:30?
Happily.
I'm retired.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All righty, payment of claims. Does anybody have any questions for Kim on payment of claims?
No, not really.
Anybody good on that? Squire Wisman.
Judge, could I ask maybe Ron to come up and just speak to, or should we do that in closed session about the one promotion raise in the
Yeah,
jail?
well, they'll be taken care of in closed session.
Well, we have one that's in the claims or under our bills, and then we have one we have two.
You don't
We
mind.
can do both there.
Yeah.
That's fine.
All righty. We are going to, authorization to go into closed session for KRS 61.8101F, discussions or hearings which might lead to the appointment, discipline, or dismissal of an individual employee.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. We're in closed session. Thank you. Charlie, we'll start with you, and then Ron.
Judge, we're live.
Alrighty. Authorization to return into open session.
Second.
Clerk, did you get that?
Yes.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. We are in open session. Thank you, court. Does anybody have any questions about the new part-time seasonal golf employees? Seeing none, I'm going to move on. We have the authorization for the promotion at the jail. Any questions, concerns about that? All righty. Other business. I like how Charlie raised his hand. Come on up, Charlie.
Thanks, Court Judge. Appreciate it. Real quick, appreciate the additional hires coming up. I'm not sure if the camera can peel in on these. He's got them. Perfect. We got 2 free golf clinics coming up. Kids clinic will be on April 20th at 1 o'clock, and an adult free golf clinic on April 27th at 1 o'clock. Both of those are Saturdays.
Any certain age group on the kids?
Kids are 6 to 14.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie.
I need a clinic.
Any other business? Squire Tracy, I see your hand up.
I'm going to 27.
There's been a lot of conversation about the jail and the task force and the job they're doing, but at the last March meeting, I think the court was all in agreement in regards to the medical contract that's in place right now, and the task force looking into that, I guess digging into it per se. Has there been any conversations or any movement on that?
Not yet, but we'll talk about it tomorrow, and we probably need to get them back in front of us. I think that's what we had talked about.
There was 2 from Western Kentucky in here.
Go ahead, Squire.
I was reading in the Courier-Journal where Jefferson County has gone back and reviewed their medical contract, and they are working with the group. So there are a number of companies in the space.
Okay.
And that is definitely something, I know that when we began this court, we talked about, making sure that we looked at everything up and down, top to bottom, to make sure we were getting the best services, to use here in Franklin County. So
I agree.
just
100%.
continue to advocate for that.
Yep. Squire Tracy.
Judge, I think we're all aware that the community is still asking a lot of questions about the Duckers RFP proposals and the property located at 67 Buena Vista. First, I'd like to personally thank everyone who called, emailed, and/or approached me in public to voice their thoughts and opinions. There's been a lot of information and/or misinformation, however you want to look at it, shared and circulated throughout the community. I think we can all agree to that. I'd like to give like a brief recap to hopefully answer some of those questions and clear up any issues or concerns that may still be out there and people are asking. So, obviously on October the 11th, members of the court, this body voted 7-0 unanimously to put out a 90-day RFP, one that was a discussion that was everyone was engaged and involved in regards to the proposed development and sale of the county property located at Buena Vista. On Friday, January the 12th, 2 bids were opened and both met the criteria to be accepted. On March 5th, the court held a committee of the whole special meeting at 4 p.m. Public comments were taken and noted. And then the court went into closed session to speak with and ask questions and negotiate, per se, the RFP proposals. First proposal, the Raza Business Group Incorporated, was a no-show or Zoom. The second proposal, which was the Hickman Branch Development Group, the 2 members of that group were in attendance and discussed the proposal and answered questions for the court. On the first proposal that was quote-unquote the no-show, the Raza Business Group, that proposal consisted of a purchasing price of $1 million, of the payment to be structured with a 4.5 annual interest with an initial grace period with no payments in the first year of the purchase. And then they would pay the court $100,000 a year, commencing from the second year of the purchase, totaling the outstanding amount. So ultimately, the group wanted the taxpayers of Franklin County to carry the note for 11 years. That was, along with that $1 million, that was including in an investment of $300,000 would be directed towards the aspect of the project. That being reopening the golf course, allocating approximately 15 to 20 acres of the property for the development of apartment buildings. A family game center would be established within the property. A golf academy for young golfers, an educational farm/zoo. So that was their proposal. Again, that proposal was approximately a $1.3 million project for Franklin County. And just to circle back on this bid, it was reopening the golf course. And I'm not sure if everyone is paying attention, but right now, if you go on Zillow, you will see there's 5.8 acres for sale that surrounds hole 10, hole 11, and hole 18. And I think it said it's been planned or, yes, a development for 38 units. So just again, I want everyone to understand, Franklin County did not purchase an 18-hole golf course. The second proposal, which those individuals were in attendance, that development consisted of single-family housing, multifamily housing, walking trails, a restaurant associated with local brewery, public amenities associated with residential development, including but not limited to pickleball courts, swimming pools, a dog park, and related facilities. The offer on that to purchase the property from that group was 1.35. We also received answers to questions that were asked during the closed session from the group, and I'd like to read them if that's okay. So thank you for the follow-up. Based on the conversation and questions from the court at the development session to discuss the proposal, we wanted to offer up and clarify a few points. First of all, we will absolutely work with the neighbors and county stakeholders to deliver housing options that are not only in dire need in the county, but that fit with the vision and design of the neighborhood and houses that exist currently. We will also work with existing homeowners to extend the boundaries of their lots so the value of their homes increase and they are left with additional green space, which will also create a better overall development. There are no plans or designs to put townhomes or multifamily buildings right in someone's back door. As to public recreation, it was discussed, we'll maintain the cart paths, create walking trails throughout the neighborhood, the installation of a dog park and at least 6 pickleball courts, most likely in close proximity to the proposed neighborhood restaurant, which can also be assessed with the walking trails. The group was also open to working with the Disc Golf Association when they were asked, and I think that's Mr. Ashcraft, in regards to trying to design a disc golf course on the undevelopable land. Let's see. As the court knows, there are a number of areas that are not suitable for any type of housing, and we would appreciate or anticipate much of that remaining green space. I think the comment was also made that they would like to work with the HOA in regards to donating unbuildable space back to the HOA. And then ultimately, we greatly appreciate the court's thoughtfulness in working through this. We have extreme confidence that our proposal, once it receives final development plan approval, will be something the county will be extremely proud of, but also something that the county desperately needs in addition to providing housing, enhances the overall tax base and quality of life of Franklin County. And I think it's also important that people know that in that development, they were going to be responsible for trash removal and snow removal. And that development there was approximately $20+ million project for Franklin County. On 4/2, this body was notified, the members of the court were notified that the Hickman Branch Development Company withdrew its proposal. So I hope this clears up a lot of the information, a lot of questions that you're getting, a lot of questions I'm getting, everybody's getting. So I kind of hope this clears things up. So, thank you.
I appreciate that. And then on that, on the next court meeting, we'll have to go ahead and take care of those bids formally. So that will be on the April 24th meeting. Squire Sebastian.
I was going to ask that very question. So what happens is, so this body's had an open RFP. We were informed that we had 2 bids, and we were informed that 1 bid was rescinded. So can we get a copy of the actual rescinded letter? I checked and I don't have it, just so we have the formal, we know exactly what they said in rescinding that. And then I guess what will happen at that point is we'll have to address it because as I understand it, it's still open.
Yeah.
Because there's still 1 live bidder.
It'll be on the 24th meeting.
Okay, thank you. I
Yes.
had that as my question for other business.
Yep.
Thank you,
Yep.
thank you.
We kind of talked about it, but we wanted things to settle a little bit. And then we had a lot on this agenda tonight that we wanted to get to. So it will be on the 24th.
Judge, in regard to that same thing, the group Raza, that was a no-show effectively to the presentation, has there been any communication from them whatsoever to say that they were telling us they had technical difficulties during that meeting? I assumed that we would have had some other response since then. Nothing?
I talked to them.
Okay. I wanted to ask, in preparation for budgetary time, if we could get a total expense to date, not just year to date, for the Duffers property, beyond what the purchase price was, since the point in time that the last court purchased it to date. I'm not sure, what we've expended and what our actual carrying costs are, that kind of thing I want to put my eyes on. So.
Yeah, Amy has that. We've talked about that. I know the clubhouse alone's running us about $1,000 a month with the water, heat, and everything. And then, we had surveying costs out there when for some reason, the previous administration, I don't know how, didn't have a survey done when it was purchased, so we had to pay quite a bit of money, and I think we've talked about that in P&Z's budget, $14,000, $15,000. So, but yeah, Amy is listening, so she can get some numbers together as far as what's that been costing to this point. Yep. All right, any other business? All righty, seeing none, we're gonna keep moving. We're going to go into our voting session. Clerk, please call the roll.
Squire Sebastian.
Here.
Squire Dykus.
Here.
Squire Blackburn.
Present.
Squire Tracy.
Here.
Squire Tanner.
Here.
Squire Wisdom.
Present.
Judge Mueller.
Present. Thank you, Clerk. Authorization for approval of minutes from the regular meeting of March 20, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to award the sole bidder to HMC regarding the valve replacement within the Franklin County Regional Jail.
Judge, I'll move to approve as long as the contract is amended to reflect the full scope of the project.
Okay.
With your signature.
Clerk, you get that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to receive the sheriff's 2023 excess fees.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to approve surplus for trade-in of Glocks Sheriff's Department.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Authorization to receive Sheriff's quarterly report ending March 31, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to receive the Franklin County Cooperative Extension Office fiscal year budget 2024-2025.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to advertise for bids regarding the janitorial services at 321-315 West Main Street, Road Department and Sheriff's Office.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to approve a resolution authorizing the filing of application to the Kentucky Office of Homeland Security, State Homeland Security Grant Program for the Franklin County Sheriff's Office.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to approve a resolution authorizing the filing of application to the Kentucky Office of Homeland Security, State Homeland Security Grant Program for the Franklin County Regional Jail.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. This is a second reading and approval of an ordinance amending the table of special ordinances, Section 1, zoning map changes of the Franklin County Code of Ordinances for a 2.36 acre tract located at 2311 Lawrenceburg Road from General Industrial District IG to Highway Commercial District CH. The property is part of Lot 21 of the Child subdivision as described in deed book 581, page 450, in the office of the Franklin County Clerk, and further identified as PVA map number 051-00-000.042.00.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes.
I would recuse myself
Oh,
from that.
you're going to recuse yourself from that one? Clerk, did you get that? Squire
Yes.
Tracy? Authorization to approve budget transfers for fiscal year 2023-2024.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to receive the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Payment of claims. Is there a motion to deny any payment of claims? No motion was made. Let the record reflect claims are to be paid. Authorization to hire Dan Midkiff as part-time seasonal golf employee.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to hire Toby Merrick as part-time seasonal golf employee.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to hire Willie Stivers as part-time seasonal golf employee.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to approve the promotion of Dominic Atkins to sergeant at the jail.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to adjourn.
You have one,
Oh,
So moved.
I move, I got credit. I move we adjourn.
Second.
We can stay longer if you want.
No, I do have a.
All those in favor say aye.
Fiscal Court.
All those opposed say nay. We are adjourned. Thank you.